benchmarking. And I think there are good models out there around the world, particularly in G7 countries, and also looking at other provinces to see what they've done. With regards to rate groups, I think our points are identified in number 2. There needs to be an objective need for change before you start changing existing classifications. There was a similar process, as you well know, back in '88 and '93. There's a full outline of various options and designs that we'd like to see before any changes are made, and then a clear outline of those objectives to be realized. Under employer incentives, the cost-based experience rating founded on the principles of revenue neutrality, no surcharge or rebate off balance, that has to continue. We think that's something that needs to be maintained. The prospective experience rating should be pursued to harmonize Ontario's program with other provinces. Our labor mobility is such now that if we have all these variances and differences province to province, it's very difficult for national corporations or multinationals to function effectively and efficiently with those kind of barriers. The second injury and enhancement fund or an equivalent mechanism should continue, and employer access to those should not be restricted for any reason. Under the funding of occupational disease claims, the occupational claims must be supported by scientific evidence with direct linkage to the claim in terms of working conditions. And then indexation for partially disabled workers. No changes to benefit indexation should be made as long as that UFL remains, and it looks for the foreseeable future that it will. I want to drive right down to program design and delivery, if I could. At the bottom of page 9, the board should recommit to the fundamental principles of workplace safety and insurance system, which is net income replacement. We argue the same way on employment insurance. It's been a problem historically that once you start to migrate away from the core principles of why it was founded in the first place, this is why we find ourselves in the pickle that we're in. Too many expenses, too many things being covered, thus too big an unfunded liability. The post-accident income shouldn't exceed pre-accident earnings. We think it's unfair that people should receive more than what they were getting in the first place as a result of W.S.I.B. And the practice of retraining injured workers for skills that will lead to higher paying jobs or jobs in a field unlike their previous employment should also be discontinued. We don't argue the nobility of these things. I think they're the right thing to do. We just don't think they should be managed under W.S.I.B. There are other programs of the government, other agencies, other ministries that might be looking after those things. And the same thing applies to funding training in excess of the equivalent necessary to support reintegration, and relocation assistance is another thing that, again, we don't believe should be under the purview of WSIB, but rather under various ministries. That really, in a nutshell, summarizes some of the key points that we wanted to make today. We appreciate that we have limited time, but would be happy to respond to any questions that you may have.